What's up, flag football fans, players, and coaches in Colorado? Welcome to the Biokats weekly flag football podcast. Here is your week 8 recap of flag football action in both 5A and 4A in the beautiful state of Colorado, plus your playoff preview in a sport that is growing in depth and parity every minute, as these playoffs will prove. I'm your host, Coach Pitz. I coach girls basketball and flag football at Legend High School in Parker. Special thanks to our producer, who's always out there generating enthusiasm for girls sports, Jerry Howard with Biokats. Let's congratulate your Denver Broncos flag football coach of the week, Connor Payne, head coach for Steamboat Springs. She's got the Sailors in the playoffs as the 14 seed in 4A. And on that note, it's playoff season already. Who won league championships? Who are your top seeds in position to make a deep playoff run? We've got all that and more. But first, how did we get here? Let's recap what happened in an exciting week 8. Caitlin Fujinami accounts for 6 touchdowns, 3 on passes to Evelyn James as North Glen beats Aurora Central 48-0. Sydney Miller throws 5 touchdowns and Marin Kunkel intercepts 3 passes as Monarch beats Kennedy 50-0. Mackenzie King scrambles her way into the end zone twice for Ponderosa in their win over Elizabeth. She rushes for 108 yards. Addie Spain and Pacey Thompson come up with interceptions for the Mustangs. For the Cardinals, Olivia Nelson finds the end zone again, and Madeline Franklin pulls 11 flags. Eaglecrest was able to get to Mullen quarterback Steffi Thomas 11 times for sacks as the Raptors upset the Mustangs 14-6. Junior Zenobia Witt is one of Colorado's top track athletes, and she's also the state leader in sacks. She has 4 sacks in this game. Naomi Amachetta runs for 121 yards for Eaglecrest. Claire Helmuth leads Mullen with 9 catches, 54 yards, and a touchdown. Nadia Anderson throws 3 passes for scores to help Air Academy secure a 19-8 league win over Vista Ridge. Jada McConnell Ash is a name we've been mentioning a lot. She's been a force this year on defense. She has 12 tackles for George Washington, but Rangeview, who's been a team on the rise, is able to win it 18-6. In video game numbers, Ariana Akey throws 7 touchdowns as Mountain Vista beats up on Highlands Ranch 82-6. Braylon Looney with 3 scores to get to 28 touchdowns on the year. Ariana Akey, a scoring machine. She winds up throwing 73 touchdown passes this year, running for 14. She grabs 4 pick sixes and intercepts 3 passes in this game alone. More on her and all of the individual standouts in next week's recap. Sydney Ramirez is a 105-yard receiver for the Vanguard School. Fountain Fort Carson gets the win, though, 26-14. Cadence Hirsch comes up big for FFC. She pulls 12 flags and explodes for a 50-yard pick 6 to help the Trojans seal it. And way to go, Jasleen Ortiz with 120 yards passing and 80 running. Pomona puts an exclamation mark on their league championship, beating Evergreen 40-6. Jay Cordova doing what she does, 5 touchdowns through the air and 271 yards. Another touchdown on the ground and 85 more yards. Cordova picked off a pass, too. Timberly Martinez catches 3 scores and just over 100 yards receiving. Alora Martinez puts the pressure on the Cougars with 5 sacks. Big-time rivalry game as Shap met Legend, each with only 1 loss. The Legend defense came to play. They get to sophomore standout Zoe Fink 7 times for sacks, including 3 by track star Jenna Brown. Raya Matouche and Tatum Burke intercept passes for the Titans. Legend offense got it going in the second half. Maddie Smolin throws for 283 yards against one of the state's top defenses, including 106 yards to softball All-State shortstop Lucy Thompson. Smolin was running for her life all night, chased by Molly McWilliams. Molly racks up 7 sacks. Brianna Baltzer leads the Wolverines with 10 tackles. Reagan Stuber breaks up 2 passes and snags 6 tackles for Legend. Way to go, Addison French from Horizon with a pick 6 and 2 interceptions to help Horizon beat Gateway 53-0. Mackenzie King racks up over 200 all-purpose yards to help Ponderosa beat Highlands Ranch 20-12. Devajane Harper is a 105-yard receiver for Bruce Randolph. They drop a high-scoring game to Denver West 40-24. Freshman Ty McPherson picks off 3 passes for the Grizzlies and scores 3 touchdowns. The Douglas County defense was flying all over the field for 5 interceptions in their 40-6 win over Regis, 2 by Maria Dykolenko, 2 by Sophie Griffith, and standout quarterback Jillian Cabral racks up 210 all-purpose yards and 4 total touchdowns. Legend wraps up the regular season hosting a shorthanded Thunder Ridge team that was missing Jordan Cochran. Claire Wilson completes 20 passes for TR, but the Titans defense comes up with 4 sacks, 3 by senior captain Janine Norton, plus interceptions by Raya Matusha and Noel Ho. Maddie Smullen is peaking at the right time, 253 yards passing, hitting 78% of her attempts as one of Colorado's top quarterbacks. In the second half, sophomore Addison Law steps in and completes all 10 of her attempts, including a touchdown to Molly Larson. Lucy Thompson, 103 yards and 2 touchdowns. Eva Pipkin, more big plays, 85 yards receiving on 4 catches with 2 touchdowns. Olivia King takes an interception 50 yards to the house to help Elizabeth beat Coronado 26-15. Lacey Antonora with 222 total yards for the Cardinals. Emma Gould grabs 2 picks. Elsie Walker with 267 all-purpose yards for the Cougs. Caroline Cummings has 106 yards, 2 touchdown receiving day, but Chaparral gets a 4th quarter touchdown and extra point to beat Northfield 13-12. Freshman Julianne Heilner picks up 11 tackles for Northfield. Junior Chloe Petrillo, 9 tackles, and junior Salem Sherman, 74 yards receiving and a score for Shat. Lauren Petusa leads the way to help TCA shut down Palmer 20-0. She totals 9 tackles and a sack. Kennedy Berry matches wits with 9 tackles of her own for Palmer, but TCA has too many weapons led by Kelsey Peterson and Reagan Harder. Doherty uses defense and special teams to wrap up their league championship, beating Air Academy 16-8. Senior Santi Keys hustles for a 2-point sack, a 6.67-yard punt return, and 87 all-purpose yards. Jada Simmons with 99 total yards and an interception for Sparty. A team you do not want to face right now, Grandview beats Cherry Creek 33-7, picking up their league championship. This defense is crushing it. Jaden Schwabauer and Anaya Coleman lead the way with 11 tackles each. 8 of those 11 tackles for Schwabauer are sacks. Abby Kirkpatrick breaks loose for a 52-yard punt return touchdown. The senior also generates 76 yards of offense receiving and rushing, plus a score. Cadence Thomas gets in the end zone twice as on Brooks Sullivan passes. More on Grandview in just a bit. Mountain View could have dropped 80 points on Gateway. They win 53-0, and I'll shout out Jessica Hopkins for a 20-yard pick 6 and 3 total touchdowns. Heritage gets a lead win, 18-13 over Highlands Ranch. 5 sacks for Phoebe Hudson gets her total to 55 on the year. More on her and all of this year's individual top performers on next week's episode. Lee Seibel busts a 56-yard touchdown run for the Eagles. Columbine played Ralston Valley very, very tough. Good ball control, but the Mustangs win it 18-6. Ashlyn Callahan just dominated this game. She picks off 3 passes with 151 return yards, runs for 81 yards. She catches 68 yards and explodes for a 76-yard punt return. Add that up, it's 376 yards for Ashlyn Callahan. Emma O'Connor, also a big night with 16 tackles for RV. Savvy Dorotic, 11 tackles and a sack. Freshman quarterback Savannah Plumley stars again for Green Mountain in their 36-6 win over Littleton. 173 yards passing, 75 yards running. She can carve up defenses in so many ways. And no surprise, 3 of her 5 touchdown passes and 116 yards go to superstar sophomore Marissa Van Gilder. Freshman Maya Gutierrez with 88 yards receiving and a score. Junior Ella Cockram was flying all over the field, pulling 16 tackles for the Rams. And as Arvada West was closing in on a league championship, they had to take on Chatfield yet again. Santana Pena making a living in the end zone. The senior catches 4 touchdowns from sophomore Emerson Drake. The Wildcats defense is shining right now. Hadley Puglisi and Grace Shilley each with 2 interceptions as A West runs away 49-7. Shout out to Ray Coronado from Stanley Lake. She grabs 2 picks, including a pick 6 of about 70 yards. Dakota Ridge hangs on, though, for the 7-6 win over Stanley Lake. Pooter has momentum big time going into the playoffs. Brooke Pravlik is almost perfect in their 39-0 win over Monarch. 5 total touchdowns for the junior. Isabella Hotman catches one of them and creates her own offense with a 50-yard pick six plus a second interception. Addison Smith with 80 yards receiving and a touchdown. Air Academy shuts out Ponderosa, working the freshman to senior combination. Nadia Anderson to Paige Murdoch for 116 yards and 2 scores, including a 60-yard bomb. Anderson throws for 205 in the 26-0 win. Grandview kept it going, and they leave no doubt who the top team in the Centennial League is. In beating Mullen 32-0, Brooke Sullivan throws for 2 scores and catches a touchdown as she and Cadence Thomas lead this offense. Sullivan picks off 2 passes as she and Anaya Coleman lead this defense. Thomas 100 yards receiving and a touchdown pass. Coleman an interception and 9 tackles. In a game of talented quarterbacks, it was the defenses that made the biggest plays as Douglas County beats Chaparral 12-6. Maria Dykolenko has 2 pick almost sixes to change this game and kill Shap's momentum. Faith Turnbaugh punches in 2 touchdowns, 54 yards receiving for her. Vivian Yor has 11 catches for 92 yards. For Shap, it's Chloe Petrillo shining again on defense with 9 tackles. Paige Fink, 7 tackles and an interception. Northfield has had a great season, but Denver South has really gotten this team figured out so far. They've already beaten them 42-0. This time it's 39-6. I don't have the stats, but I can almost guarantee you that Asha Daniels probably grabbed another 2 interceptions. She is one of the best safeties in Colorado. TCA traveled north to take on Valor. TCA has some of the best defensive backs I've seen, but Grace Marino goes off. Everyone knows when facing Valor, you got to try to take away Faith Prinzo to Savannah Prinzo telepathy that they have. But Marino hauls in 8 catches for 146 yards, and she threw a 32-yard touchdown on a double pass. And oh, by the way, Savannah Prinzo still caught 3 touchdowns of her own. Both of those players were able to grab interceptions on defense. 376 yards of offense generated by Faith. For TCA, Kelsey Peterson still throws for 228 yards. She also last week became the first quarterback to throw 100 touchdown passes in A. Congratulations to Kelsey Peterson. As just a junior, her name will be plastered all over the state's record books. Lakewood finished their season on a high note with shutouts against Elizabeth and Stanley Lake. Against the Cardinals, Sailor Slaughter has her most efficient game, completing 82% of her passes and throwing 5 touchdowns. Fellow sophomore Nat Warren catches 2 of them, picks off 2 passes, and leads the Tigers with 6 tackles. Annabelle Nelson leads the Cardinals with 10 tackles, and Olivia King pulls in 81 yards receiving. I haven't shouted out Kira Turner much this year. The George Washington sophomore throws for 3 touchdowns and runs for another. Brooke Hunter with a 55-yard pick 6 to help GW beat Denver West 42-6. The Classical Academy finishes their business to lock in the number 1 seed in 4A with a 49-0 win over Colorado Springs Christian. Brooklyn Blair hauls in 4 interceptions for the Titans. 2 go for pick sixes. Kelsey Peterson, 4 touchdown passes. 2 go to standout Reagan Harder. In the game of the week, Ralston Valley is playing for a league championship. Valor Christian is back to full strength. It's 6-6 into the 4th quarter. Valor drives all the way down and is stopped 1 foot shy of the end zone. RV then drives all the way down, and Savannah Prinzo breaks up a pass in the end zone on 4th down with under 4 minutes to play. And on Valor's final drive, they punch it in with less than 30 seconds to play. Low scoring means no offense, right? Completely wrong. Faith Prinzo generates over 400 yards of offense, completing 90% of her passes. Sophia Abar, 146 yards receiving and a score. Grace Marino, 103 yards receiving and a score. Jade Harry with 6 sacks for Valor. Arvada West was able to sit back and watch as this game locked up the 5A Jeffco League Championship for the Wildcats, with Ralston Valley getting their 2nd loss in league. 13-6 is the final for Valor. Kira Knowles finishes the season with 4 more touchdowns, 2 to Jessica Hopkins, who also intercepts 2 passes as Mountain View beats Eagle Ridge Academy 39-0. One last shout out on the season for Sailor Slaughter. She ends the year with 331 all-purpose yards in Lakewood's 33-0 shutout over Stanley Lake, 105 yards receiving for Caroline Bain and 2 touchdowns. Green Mountain in beating Golden 34-0 on Saturday does enough to claw back up to the 4 seed in Plumley passes for 191 yards, runs for 118 yards. Freshman Maya Gutierrez on the receiving end of 4 touchdowns, and Maddie Malsh picks off 3 passes for the Rams. Douglas County had a week after beating Chaparral. They headed up to Cherry Creek on Saturday, and their defense holds the Bruins scoreless until the 4th quarter. Huskies win it 19-14. Jillian Cabral solid again, 20 for 29 and 3 touchdowns. Francesca Ferrero is able to sack Addie Beck twice. This Douglas County versus Grandview matchup in the Sweet 16 is going to be a battle loaded with talent between 2 well-coached teams. And on that note, what did all these games mean for our league championship races before we get to the playoff picture? Congratulations to Mountain Vista. They are the Continental League champs, running the table 9-0. Legend at 8-1. Chaparral, Douglas County, and Rock Canyon in the mix at 6-3. Over in 5A, Jeffco by Valor beating Ralston Valley on Saturday. It ensures the league championship for Arvada West 7-1. Ralston Valley 6-2. Valor 5-3. Champs in the City League. Denver South runs the table, and Northfield goes 5. In the Southern, it's Doherty winning the tiebreaker in the head-to-head matchup by a single extra point in, I think, triple overtime that was. Going 8-1, the Classical Academy 8-1. Air Academy puts together a good year 6-3. Vista Ridge 6-3, and Elizabeth 6-3. In the Centennial, Grandview is smoking hot right now. They beat Cherry Creek handily this week, and they beat Mullen to ensure no ties, no 3-way ties or anything like that. In fact, Eagle Crest was able to upset Mullen, so they both go 4-3. Cherry Creek 6-1, and Grandview runs the table. 4A Jeffco, it's Pomona by 1 score over Green Mountain in their matchup 10-0, 9-1. Steamboat Springs in their inaugural season 7-3. Golden in their inaugural season 7-3. Great job to those teams. Mountain View runs the table up north. Pooter, though, is hot right now. They're 9-2, and North Glen finishes 9-2, and Horizon is 9-2. Legacy 7-4 as they grab the 19 seed in the 5A playoffs. And in the City League, Denver North gets the tiebreaker over Manual with the head-to-head. George Washington did beat Denver North, but North claims the title. Monarch 8-2 in their inaugural season. George goes 8-2. And with that, let's talk playoff season. Here we go. So here's the scoop. On Tuesday, seeds 13 through 20 are going to try to play their way into the Sweet 16. The top 12 seeds get a bye, and they will play on Saturday in the Sweet 16. So 13 plays 20. It's Golden, Eagle Ridge Academy. It's Steamboat, Springs, and Regis Groff. It's Ponderosa and Littleton. It's Palmer and Dakota Ridge trying to play their way into the 16. TCA will play the 16-17 winner, Palmer, Dakota Ridge. Mountain View, Pomona, and Green Mountain are the other top 4 seeds. Those have got to be by far the favorites. I think 5A has a lot more parity after the first seed, but 4A has 4 very clear favorites. But Denver North, Manual, Air Academy, Monarch, they're all saying, hey, we've got a chance to take those guys down. The Sweet 16 and the Grade 8 will both be on Saturday. So by Saturday night, we're going to be down to the Final 4. Again, TCA, Mountain View, Pomona, Green Mountain have to be the favorites. But check out number 10. You've got Mullen. So Mullen is going to play, it's likely Dakota Ridge, or it could be Palmer. I'm sorry. Mullen's going to play Air Academy on Saturday morning. So the winner then would play Mountain View. And I'm sure Mullen's thinking, hey, we got a chance to make a run. Mullen is down one of their best receivers, unfortunately, but I think that might be your best chance for an upset to get into the Final 4 there for the 4A picture. Now let's look at the 5A picture. Incredible the depth this year. I think seeds 2 through 20, there's going to be some upsets this year. There hasn't been a lot of upsets last year in the first chassis year. Mountain Vista, the clear favorite to win it, but Arvada West has had times they've been really, really dominant, but other times not quite as strong. Legend, same thing. Legend and Denver South played a tie game into halftime. Legend and Shap were a tie game at halftime recently, so anything could happen there. Ralston Valley at times has looked really, really dominant. They looked really good last week against Chatfield, but against Valor, with Valor back to being full strength, Valor was able to take them out. Douglas County is hot right now, and Grandview is hot. That is unfortunate a little bit, the seeding with how good Douglas County and Grandview are right now, that the winner of that game gets the glamour of playing Mountain Vista in the evening. But that's where we're at. Let's take a look at, first of all, 13 through 20. So Pooter is going to play Chatfield. That's two teams. That's going to be a heck of a game. Your 13 versus 20, you'd think would be a blowout, but Chatfield is capable of playing with anybody in the state, and Pooter is crushing teams right now. Doherty and Legacy is going to be a game. Doherty, unfortunately, Aubrey Smith is out, I believe, with a knee. So that's probably going to be a toss-up of a game. North Glen and Columbine. And then you've got Thunder Ridge Horizon. Those are going to be good ones. Legend, we're going to play the winner of Doherty versus Legacy. So we'll obviously be watching that one closely on Tuesday. But those 4 of those 13 through 20 seeds will play their way into the Sweet 16. Then, as I work back, you've got Rock Canyon Chaparral matchup. Two teams that have very meticulous offenses that spread the field really well and really, really good defenses. They're going to be going to battle. The winner most likely to play Arvada West, assuming Arvada West is able to take care of business in their game against, let's see, they'll start out with, it'll be the North Glen versus Columbine winner. All right. So I'm sure Columbine wouldn't be thrilled with playing Arvada West a third time, but it's hard to beat a team 3 times. So you never know. Mountain Vista, obviously the favorite in 5A, but after that, this is going to be a great tournament. So next week, we're going to talk about the individual leaders. I had so much content. I didn't put that into the slides this week. Plus, I know a lot of coaches are still catching up on stats. And speaking of, one reminder, sacks count against rushing yards for quarterbacks in high school and in college. It's only in the NFL that they don't count. I noticed a ton of coaches are not counting those as negative yards for their quarterbacks, which makes a difference of hundreds of yards. So if you have the chance to correct that, especially as leagues are meeting this week for all conference awards, that makes a huge difference on a quarterback stats, that sacks do count as negative yards. And so hopefully we can get that as accurate as we can. Next week, we got the opening round recap from Tuesday's games. We've got the Sweet 16 recap, and we're going to have the Grade 8 recap. We'll have our Final Four previews. Any corrections or comments, darrenpitzner@gmail.com. Be nice to me. I'm doing the best I can over here. It's fun compiling all this information. We want to shout out as many kids as we can. So feel free to email me any interesting tidbits or just great performances that I might have missed. Spread the word, please. Follow us and share on what these kids are awesome, what these kids are doing. Let's get more people talking about flag football in Colorado. We've got all sorts of other cool updates going that we're working on for next week. Thanks for listening. Thanks for sharing. Enjoy the playoffs. Good luck, everybody. Savor it. It is going to be fun on Tuesday to see those play-in games, and it's going to be an amazing electric environment for the Sweet 16 Saturday morning and the Grade 8 Saturday night. Have a good week and good luck.